And welcome to the Big Gunner Podcast. Well, favorite time of the year, week one is upon us. Giants Commanders in Washington. Place we haven't done too badly over the years. We are 14-8 against them since 2013. Brian Dable's only team with a winning record. He's 3-2-1 against against the Commanders. So I think we got an ample shot. So got rid of the roster. Tommy DeVito no longer. Tommy Cutlets looks like he's up in New England as a Patriot. Should be an interesting start of the season. Came out of there all healthy, losing Ford Wheaton and T.J. Moore were the only two losses we had for a corner. So guys who were probably, I don't know if they'd be big contributors anyway. Hoping to get Andrew Thomas back. That's a big big if right now. I think I hope he gets to play half the snaps. I don't know what the status is. They say Friday we'll know more. Big important piece for the long haul for sure. Don't want to rush him back. So if we can survive this week one. Here's my thoughts on this week one. The line has moved down from 7-6, which is always kind of good and bad. Underdogs week one are always very good. So the stats are telling Giants, which makes me a little nervous. But I just love all the hype that you hear about how great the Commanders are going to be. And I just got a sneaky suspicion that this is a game that we can sneak on people. Very similar to Brian Dable's first game in Tennessee when we went for a 2-point conversion. Barkley converted it. Got a win against the team that actually had home field advantage throughout the AFC that year before. And I thought that kind of steamrolled into some kind of good things, let us do a playoff year, which probably could have been, in hindsight, a negative for us because it held us back, made us had these illusions that Daniel Jones was going to be our answer. So there's a lot of stuff that I basically saw that I saw that kind of made the playoff year of 2022 a little bit of a mirage for us. But I just think this team is coming. I love the enthusiasm on the sidelines. I just get off on the fact that how one of the things that when I was there, and I've said this before, that I was there, I kind of like to think I brought an emotional position as a Giant fan there. And I really see that there is a great camaraderie. I think the culture is being built. I think they've taken a different approach. I think this roster is deeper and better than it has been. I see a lot of positives. I think Russell Wilson has been a good influence. I have a lot of friends that think he wasn't the answer. He's not even a good, a bridge to Dart. But Jaxson Dart looked very good. A lot of compliments you hear on all these quarterback shows and people who think they know what's going on and probably do know more than me. They like what they saw out of Dart. I did too. I thought the throwing in for touchdown to Jordan Humphrey in the Buffalo game was pretty good. Was as good a throw as I saw all preseason. Took a shot in the meantime. He still hung in there. Took old Phil Simms kind of standing in there, making the throw and taking your shot, which a lot of guys don't do. They have a tendency to throw off the back foot. So a lot of fundamentals, sound fundamentals. I think Dable and him seem to have a good relationship. I think he's happy to be a Giant. I see a lot of positives. Key component to me is going to be the offensive line. I think we found something with Mabo. I don't know if he's going to get playing time right away, but I think if we have injuries like we've had in the past and all these teams have injuries on the line, I feel pretty good of our depth that I think we won't lose a beat. Now, the offensive line up until, Andrew Thomas went out against Cincinnati last year was pretty good, playing well. Ellen Lenore is very versatile, can go inside, outside. We're moving Evan Neal as a little transition into the guard position. Need more out of John Michael Schmitz. I think Micah McFadden and John Michael Schmitz are the two players have to elevate their game and step up. And what I mean by McFadden, because everybody loves him, is just tackling in space, not missing tackles. I know he's a ball hawk. I know he created turnovers last year, which is great. I know he had 12 tackles for loss, which is great when you're playing behind Dexter Lawrence. He opens holes for you to shoot gaps, and he's very good at that. But I kind of want to make sure you watch him, that he's tackling in space, not going backwards on contact, and, makes plays. So I'm happy with the roster. Love what we've done in the secondary. It looks like C.J. Flott might get some of the first unit snaps. Hope we stay healthy there. I like what Dane Becton showed us. I think Ty Newman is a player. I think this team defensively should be a lot better. Abdul Carter, we all know what we've seen early on with him. Didn't get a real good look at that. Saw him a couple of snaps at Buffalo, which everybody raved about. Got his little welcome to the NFL moment against the Jets. Nothing really against New England, but I think you're saving him. I think these are the moments. So hopefully he, explodes out on the, on the surface and plays well. So those are really the things that I see with our team, going forward. Again, I didn't really get a look at Scatterbo, and I think we'll see him get plays probably more in short yardage. Kind of think the receiver core, we need a little uplift. The Jalen Hyatt, I think Russell Wilson's making comments, expect a lot of the Jalen Hyatt. Love our tight end group. Thomas Fedoni made some plays. Hate to see Dulcich leave, but Manhurts was our probably best blocking tight end. Dan Bellinger still made a team. And, and so we have a good core nucleus at the tight end positions that I feel very comfortable with. Theo Johnson, looks like he has potential stardom ahead of him. So I just think this roster, top to bottom, we didn't see any Malik Neighbors, and it looks like we're going to see him the week one. He had a great game in his first breakout game against Washington when he caught over 100 yards in passes. So feel pretty good at what he can do there. I think he's an absolute stud. And I think if we can hold up on the line and give Russell Wilson that extra second to throw, I think he's going to be successful. So feel very positive. I am also going to throw out a couple predictions. Number one, starting this week, not only do I think we cover the 6, I think we might steal this game. As crazy as it sounds, I think if we put a defensive scheme together to control Jaden Daniels running the football on third down and convert on third down, maybe get a turnover or two, which is something we didn't do. We didn't get hardly any interceptions last year. I think we had one in week 1 and then get one to week 12 or 13. But if we can somehow, with the pass rush, create turnovers, Brian Burns, Thibodeau looks better. Hopefully we get some player next to Dexter Lawrence. We didn't see any of Dexter Lawrence. I got a sneaky suspicion our defense is going to be pretty good. Now, Sal Cosme, the starting left guard, is not going to be there for Washington. He got hurt in the playoffs last year, was out for the year. So that's a loss for them. So we got a little benefit there. They did sign Terry McLaurin, so they'll have him in the fold, and that's scary because I think he's been a giant killer. Last year was a different year, and we played Washington pretty tough. Lost by 5. Had the game down there. We were the first team in NFL history to score 3 touchdowns and lose to a team who didn't score a touchdown, as they kicked 7 field goals to beat us 21-18, and we missed. Graham Gano got hurt. First play of the game, pulled a hamstring, and so we didn't have a kicker, so we went for 2 all the time and missed them all. And that was what caused that loss. But it was a very competitive game down there. We covered 3 points. Now, we've only not covered a game of 6, only once in the last 13 games against Washington. So the odds are saying that I think we're going to make that the bet would be the New York Giants. The line drops 7-6. Smart money's on the Giants. Tickets are on Washington. Typical of what you see week 1. Underdogs have been highly successful week 1. Moneyline underdogs in division games have been successful week 1, over 50%. So if we're going to bounce, this is the game we're going to do it in. So I feel very comfortable that the G-men are going to be, where we're going to be. So that's really kind of where I see it. Now, the future bets, I'm going to put us out there in 2 of them. One, I'm going to say over 5.5 wins for the Giants. Now we were getting plus a quarter when we bet it earlier. Now it's minus 110. So it's an even money bet now, a regular straight bet on over 5.5. So all that juice that they said the Giants weren't good, our good successful preseason brought that number down to where it's more of a pick 'em at 5.5. Just going through the schedule, I just think if we can get to 2 and 3 into New Orleans, that's a big ask. I mean, Dallas looks like now there's a little bit of disarray down there with the Michael Parsons trade going to Green Bay. And, we don't know where Dallas is going to be, new coach, new regime. What's going to happen? This should be probably a 3.5, 3-point favorite against us. If we get a win, it might be even less. If people like us, I think we can take one of these 2 games. Chargers are going to be without Rashawn Slater. We have the Chiefs coming in week 3 off a very interesting scenario where they're playing the Philadelphia Eagles, a rematch of the Super Bowl week 2, and then they got Baltimore coming in there in week 4. So they get that road nationally televised game after going to Brazil, home against Philly, Week 1 they play the Chargers in Brazil. Then they play at home against Philly. Then they come on the road to play us, and then home against Baltimore. So that schedule, we could slip through the cracks there and give us an ample shot there to play and test us right away. So if we get a win or two in these first 2 games, then we go play the perennial champions. I think it'll be fun. Week 4 against the Chargers. Again, Rashawn Slater's out of left tackle, so we're going to have an adjustment there. We might be able to get some pressure off the end. Harbaugh keeps teams in games with the running game. It'll be a physical game, a game that we might like to play. Who knows about our chances? Again, I think we'd be a small underdog in that game also. I don't see many games we're going to be favored until we show it on the field. But I love the positives from the locker room. I love the way the players are engaged. I feel a lot more emotion I have on a Giant team in a long time as far as the culture, sideline, just the way they're playing now. I don't think it's all show because it wasn't at all there last year, even when we had started the season. I think this is just something they're emphasizing, and I think they might have the right nucleus of players. And I give it to Jameis Winston and Russell Wilson. I think Jameis Winston's influence. I kind of like all the things he's done. I've loved his energy, and I think the quarterback room is probably the best quarterback room we've had in decades. And I kind of like it as to where this is going. So I feel real positive about what's going to happen here, and I can't wait for Sunday. So we're also going to take the over 1.5 division wins. Now, I've always emphasized division games. I think if we can go 2-4 in division, I think 1-5 will be a disaster. We play Dallas at the end of the season when who knows what's going to happen there, and maybe Jaxson Dart's playing if we're out of it, and Dallas is not playing for nothing. So maybe Jaxson Dart comes in and shows we get a win. And if we could steal one of these 2 wins in the first 2 weeks, we're done. We get 2 and you're out. So those are the next 2 bets. Now, as far as being around the league, and we'll end you here as we get ready. We'll be back Thursday on Bury Your Bookie, and we had a great 5-0 run with Bleacher Brothers. We were on a Wednesday show at 3 p.m. With Jeff DeForest and company, a bunch of handicappers on there, and I actually got it done this week. We're going to give out a couple games for the pros, and we're going to give out some other more futures. So here we go. Tennessee Titans over 5.5. Just like what they're doing in Tennessee, the rookie quarterback. I like Cam Ward. I like a chance to win. I think the division is a little weak. Don't know what we're going to get out of Indianapolis with Daniel Jones at quarterback, a little disarray there. We know that Jacksonville's always been up and down, and Houston's been a perennial team, but I think 6 wins is a very distinct possibility for Tennessee. They have a good offensive line, a strong defensive front. Like them in the trenches. Simmons and Sweat are top-notch defensive tackles that they have. I think they're going to be better off of last year, so I like over 5.5. I like the Pittsburgh Steelers over 8.5. I know a lot of people aren't a fan of Aaron Rodgers. Maybe his mobility's gone, but he had 28-11 last year. Jets lost 4 games in the fourth quarter basically because of their defense. So I would have gotten them in 9 wins. Mike Tomlin has never had a losing season. We see how they get along there. That got Tomlin not having a losing season again. They paid T.J. Watt. They got DK Metcalf. Drafted Caleb Johnson. If their offensive line holds up and give Aaron Rodgers some time, it struggled late in the year last year. Getting to 9 wins should be pretty easy. We don't know where Cleveland stands. We know Cincinnati's going to struggle defensively. Baltimore's going to be tough, but that rivalry is always worth a potential win possibly. So I kind of like Pittsburgh. As far as the unders go, I kind of like under 8.5 Dallas Cowboys. I don't know if it dropped to 7 after the Micah Parsons trade. I just think they might struggle. And I like the under in the Miami Dolphins at 8.5. I just think their defense is really good, but I think they're an injury away from Tua to struggle. So those are the bets. We're going to give you some games out this weekend. I'm going to start off by going with Jacksonville minus the 3 over Carolina. Just think Carolina rode a tough spot. I know rookie head coach is struggling week 1. I just think Jacksonville's better. I think we're going to see a little bit more out of Trevor Lawrence this year, like Jacksonville Street. I love our Giants plus the 6 in that game. I also like the Lions plus 2.5 against Green Bay. I don't know if Micah Parsons is playing. I like Detroit as a dog. They've played better last year. They've won the division games. I like them to come out there dominant. They're going to be healthy on defense. I think they're going to give Jordan Love some problems. And again, we're going to check on the Michael Parsons injury. So those are the 3 games we like. In the college slate, which you were successful last week, I like Texas laying the 36.5. Only reason why there, I think in the home game, Arch Manning will bounce back. I think the whole team will bounce back, catching heat all week. San Jose State struggled, losing 16-14 to Central Michigan as a 14.5-point favorite. Don't know if that takes anything out of them heading to Austin, or maybe they were looking past this game to Austin. I don't know. So I'm kind of looking more of a first half bet, maybe lay the 21.5 or more that they get the 4 scores in the first half. I think Texas will put it on them. I also like Illinois on the road, lay 3 at Duke. I think the line's low. Very impressed with Illinois. Going on the road at Duke. I also like uh, South Florida as a chance. I think plus the 10.5 against Florida. I think they're plus 17. I'm sorry, against Florida. So I think they have a chance to have a chance in that game too, also, which would be good. So, and the Michigan Oklahoma game, I kind of like Michigan getting 5.5. I know it's a young quarterback going in there, and everybody's on Oklahoma's hype, but I kind of like Michigan and that to the big game at night. So that's what we got for you today. We're going to come back to you next week. Might have a podcast prior to the game, maybe do something Sunday after the game. We'll figure it out with no filter. Again, up until next week, go blue. Let's get it done. One last One last check. I came back. Sorry, I disconnected the wrong way. We're going to pick on the Monday night game. We're going to go with the Vikings. We think the Vikings are going to be better than people think. Bears with their new transition. We like Minnesota in the Monday night game. I will pick the Monday night game all the time on default in the morning, but I wanted to give it out here first. Thank you, and let's go blue, and let's get this thing really going quick.